Yo, I want to talk to y'all today about Coca Cola. What are the ingredients in Coca Cola? Well, you got carbonated water, you got sucrose, caramel color, phosphoric acid, natural flavors, and caffeine. I didn't talk about all these ingredients because although it seems like a handful of ingredients, it's a lot to talk about, especially when you get into natural flavors and how natural flavors aren't natural at all. And just if you pause right there and ask yourself, why does it just say natural flavors instead of why don't they list what these natural flavors are? Notice they don't tell you what they are. It just says natural flavors. But that's a lot to get into right there. I didn't even talk about caffeine, which is a lot to get into. Phosphoric acid, that should speak for itself. Phosphoric acid, it's corrosive. You should not, excuse me, be drinking phosphoric acid. Like it just sounds like you should not be drinking that. But I did get into sucrose. We about to get into sucrose right now. What is sucrose? Because when I first looked at it, I didn't know exactly what it was. But sucrose is just sugar. It's granulated sugar. As you see here, it's just sugar. So now that we got that out the way and we understand exactly what sucrose is, I find it interesting that they use that term sucrose instead of just saying sugar. They make you work to, figure out what it is. But now that we know that it's sugar, one can of Coca Cola has 39 grams of sugar, which equals 10 teaspoons. 10 teaspoons in one can. That's a lot of fucking sugar. So let's get into it. I talk about sugar a lot. I'm sure I will talk about sugar a lot more because sugar is the most harmful, most dangerous, most toxic, most addictive drug on the planet. It's responsible for more deaths than anything on the planet. It's responsible for obesity, like all the obesity, all people overweight, all that shit. It's responsible for all of it. Sugar is it's amazing to me that sugar is just so widely accepted and that people really have no idea what they're really consuming when they consume sugar. They give it to you for free, right? It's in all the grocery stores. It's even categorized as natural. Sugar is a drug. I didn't even, but in another video where I was talking about sugar, I posted a clip where it says that sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine. Sugar is a fucking drug. And 39 grams of sugar, 10 fucking teaspoons of sugar in one little ass can of Coca-Cola is outrageous. Well, let's look at some of these toxic effects of sugar. If it was natural, it wouldn't have these toxic effects, these side effects, blah, blah. Right? Toxic effects of sugar. It speeds up the aging process. It suppresses immunity. It disturbs your mineral balance. Raises cholesterol and triglycerides. Increased risk of Alzheimer's, diabetes, and hyperglycemia. Tooth decay and periodontal disease. That fucking phosphoric acid would also contribute to that tooth decay because it's corrosive. It's fucking acid. Coronary heart disease. Not coronary, but heart disease is responsible for more deaths than anything else in the world. And sugar's linked to it. Crohn's disease, uh, ulcerative colitis, asthma, arthritis, gallstones, and kidney stones, hormonal imbalances, and appendicitis. And there's a lot more. There's a lot more about sugar. This shit is no joke. This is some dangerous shit. And you like, if you care about your health, you should be doing everything you can to leave sugar alone. The shit is fucking toxic as fuck. Now some of these may be repeated, but here you see causes obesity again, increased risk of heart disease, causes type 2 diabetes, damages the liver, tooth and bone decay, accelerates skin aging, develops acne, promotes addictive nature. Pause. Promotes addictive nature. That's because it's a fucking drug. It is a drug. Results in depression and energy loss. Now, I got some clips that's going to like talk about this in more detail. This shit is crazy though. The effects of added sugar intake. According to Harvard University, higher blood pressure, inflammation, weight gain, diabetes, and fatty liver disease are all linked to an increased risk for heart attack and stroke, says Dr. Who. Now let's go into more detail. And this is just sugar. This is the second ingredient in Coca Cola. We're still on sugar, but there's so much to say about sugar. I got to spend some time here because you would improve your health drastically if you eliminate these unnatural sugars. This fucking white sugar, granulated sugar, whatever the fuck, this shit is not natural. It's not natural. It's a fucking drug. It is a drug. This is no joke. It is a drug. It is a legalized drug. And we don't think of it as a drug. We don't think of it as harmful or toxic because it's in grocery stores. If you go in a fast food restaurant, you know, and I don't know, say, I really don't want to promote any fast food restaurants, but say you go in a certain spot, you get you a coffee, they got bins on the counter where you could just grab as much sugar as you want for free. You don't even have to buy anything. You can go in there and just scoop handfuls of sugar if you want. And it's so cheap. Don't let none of that fool you. This shit is a fucking drug. 8 times more addictive than cocaine. And hey, you don't gotta take my word for it. But prove me wrong. All these clips, all this research, prove it wrong. Stop it. Cut sugar out of your diet. Right? See, a lot of times, like, you don't realize you have a problem until you try to change your ways. When you try to change your ways, then you realize, oh shit, I got a fucking problem. Oh shit, I'm fucking addicted to sugar. Whatever it is. So, I mean, we don't need to debate it, go back and forth or nothing like that. Just prove me wrong. Just stop it. Just cut sugar out completely. Just do it now. 30 days, no sugar. You'll see. But let's get into this. 1 and 2 causes obesity and increases risk of heart disease. Sugar is also linked to cancer. I don't know if any of these clips that I have are going to mention that. And cancer is the number 2 cause of death. Heart disease is the number 1 cause of death worldwide, and number 2 is cancer. Sugar's linked to both of them. So one of the main reasons behind worldwide obesity, I would say it's stronger than that. Not one of the main reasons, but the main reason behind worldwide obesity. I would say it even stronger than that and say reason, the reason behind worldwide obesity is sugar. Period. Like all that extra, you don't even need to say all that. But I'll read what they say. One of the main reasons behind worldwide obesity is sugar sweetened drinks containing a high amount of fructose. Fructose is a simple carbohydrate that increases hunger and desire for food. Excessive sugar intake can also generate resistance to leptin that regulates hunger. In addition to that, sugary beverages add excessive calories to your regular diet, finally resulting in unnecessary weight gain. So yeah, sugar is the cause for obesity, weight gain, worldwide obesity. Period. Number 2, increases risk of heart disease. One of the major side effects of consuming sugar is the increased risk of heart disease. In addition, diets rich in sugar can cause obesity, inflammation, and high triglycerides and high blood pressure. All these health conditions are directly associated with life-threatening heart diseases, and there are several different types of heart disease. All right. Similarly, too much sugar can result in that. I don't know how to say that. A disease characterized by fatty artery clogging and causing heart diseases. Diseases, plural, not singular. Causes type 2 diabetes. The pancreas fails to produce enough insulin to stabilize increased blood sugar levels with excessive sugar. At the same time, the cells can also become resistant to the produced insulin. As a result, the chances of getting people with type 2 diabetes are higher for people who incorporate too much sugar in their diet. Higher blood sugar levels not only cause type 2 diabetes, but also result in heart diseases, kidney damage, liver-related issues. This is all just from sugar. I am still talking about sugar. Damages liver. Once we consume more sugar than our daily limit, the abundance of added sugar gets broken down in the liver. As a result, it transforms into fat and results in non-alcoholic fatty liver. The high fructose intake is mainly responsible here as it gets exclusively broken down by the liver. Furthermore, the liver converts the excess sugar into triglycerides, resulting in decreased good cholesterol levels. This shit is bad for you. This is sugar. This is just sugar. There's 39 grams of sugar, 10 fucking teaspoons of sugar in one can of Coke. I had an aunt, and Coke and Pepsi, they really not the same. I mean, they really not that much different. It's really not that much different. Now, when I drank pop, I could tell the difference between the two. I prefer Pepsi over Coke. It still got a lot of fucking sugar. Both of them got a lot of fucking sugar in it, so this would apply. It applies. Tooth and bone decay, accelerates skin aging, develops acne. I'm gonna skip all of these. I want to go to number 8. Promotes addictive nature. Pause. Is that not what drugs do? Sugar is a fucking drug. Look at this. Let's read this. Sugary foods encourage the secretion of a feel-good chemical named dopamine that controls your cravings. With more dopamine in your system, the brain requires more and more sugar to receive that same feeling of pleasure. Unfortunately, this feeling often leads to addiction-related problems. Now, let's pause right here. If you talk to any drug addict, they'll tell you the first time they got high was usually pretty amazing. And every time after that first time they got high, what they were really doing was chasing after that original feeling they had from the first time. And they were never able to quite reproduce that. drugs. Sugar is a fucking drug. That's exactly what it just said here. This is what you get hip to sugar, you get hooked on it, boom. It makes you feel so good. And now it requires more and more sugar to try to get that same feeling. That's a fucking drug. They are putting drugs in the products that they're selling to us as food and as beverages, as drinks. The shit is full of drugs, addictive drugs. Results in depression and energy loss. I mean, this shit is just funny. And I mean, it's not, but a sudden spike in blood sugar and insulin levels with sugary foods can result in increased energy levels. That's the high, right? However, this high energy level is not long lasting or stable. This brief energy boost is generally followed by a decline in blood sugar levels. That's when you get sober. That's when you come down off that high, therefore causing a drop in energetic mood. Fucking depression. It's depression. You consume this sugar, these excessive amounts of unnatural sugars, and it produces a high, an increase in dopamine levels, the feel good chemical. You're feeling great, but it's short lived. Just as with basically every drug, the high is short lived, and then you come down. You're not high no more. That causes you to be depressed because now you're not feeling good as you were when you were high. So now you want to get back high again so you can feel. It's a fucking drug. It's no different than meth or fucking crack or heroin, whatever you want to name. It's no different. The only difference is this shit right here is legal. And you can buy it in grocery stores, and you know they serve it at restaurants, fast food restaurants. I mean, it's there, it's widely accessible, it's easily available, it's cheap. You won't go to jail for having bags and bags and bags of sugar in your trunk. But it's a drug. It is a drug. Make no mistake about it. It's a fucking drug. Now let's talk about caramel color. All that time was spent on sugar. Let's talk about caramel color. I hope you can see this. Caramel color added to many soft drinks and some foods to turn them brown may sound harmless, even appetizing. It does sound appetizing. Caramel, that word, caramel. But pause. It's not caramel, it's caramel coloring. It's just something that produces the color of caramel. They're really crafty with these labels. And, you know, they're like wordsmiths. They're really genius with how they label things. Caramel color make you think of caramel, but it's not caramel. And in fact, as this says, but in no way does it resemble real caramel. In no way at all. Some types of this artificial coloring contain a potentially carcinogenic chemical called 4-methylimidazole. Now, I'm not even going to get into 4-meth, but it's a carcinogenic. It causes cancer. So what is caramel color made from? Well, it's made by heating a sugar compound, usually high dextrose corn syrup, often together with ammonium compounds, acids, or alkalis. It just don't sound like something you should be consuming. If you want to be healthy, now if you don't care about being healthy, then you shouldn't even be watching this. There, like none of this is of any concern to you if you don't care about being healthy. But if you care about being healthy, and if you understand that your health is in your power, right? If you understand that you don't have to get sick, you don't have to have disease. And just because you get older don't mean you have to have certain diseases. There are no age-related ailments. There are no age-related diseases. Like, if you understand this, if you understand that your health is your responsibility and your health is important to you, then this is shit that you'll want to know. And if you don't care, then, why are you even here, right? But caramel coloring may be the most widely consumed food coloring in the world. Unfortunately, its manufacture can sometimes lead to the formation of a carcinogen called methylamidazole. I was just reading that, which was identified as a cancer-causing chemical back in 2007. What's that, like 16 fucking years ago? They knew that 4-methylamidazole causes cancer. And 16 years later, they're still using it as a food additive. This is caramel coloring. We're talking about caramel coloring. And lastly, 7 side effects of drinking soda in general. And I'm going to blow this up a little bit because some of it's just a little hard to see. Phosphoric acid, which is in Coca Cola, weakens bones and rots teeth. Excessive artificial sweeteners, they make you crave more. In other words, they're addictive. They are drugs. Sucralose, which is in, or sugar, that is a artificial sweetener. Don't let them fool you. It's an artificial sweetener and it's addictive. It's a drug. Caramel color, made from the chemical caramel, is purely cosmetic. It doesn't add flavor, yet it is tainted with carcinogens or cancer-causing chemicals. Formaldehyde, high fructose corn syrup, potassium benzoate. And I believe, there we go, food dyes. I was trying to scroll like, what the fuck? Here we go though, food dyes. Caramel color is a food dye. But food dyes are linked to impaired brain function, hyperactive behavior, difficulty focusing, and lack of impulse control. Artificial sweeteners are also, I mean, they're not food dyes, but they have the same side effects there. So there we are. That is what's a little bit about what's in your can of Coca Cola. There's so much that still remains to be discussed. But is this not enough? Right? Like, did I even have to go any further than sugar? Like, just talking about sugar, it's enough for me, right? Did I even need to talk about caramel coloring or even briefly mention phosphoric acid? And then there's things we didn't even get into. But that should be enough right there to help you make an informed decision or help you to think twice. If you drink this shit, you might be hooked on this shit, and which is very common. And maybe this inspire you to think twice or just rethink some things, like, hey, maybe I need to leave this shit alone. This shit is fucking killing me. This shit is making me sick. So that's all for this video. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you found it helpful and informational. And what are your thoughts on this?